How good are 5 stars in the Thronebreaker difficulty? That's the question we're asking ourselves, and let's showcase why it might be the case that they are good. They can definitely do the job, just the problem is, it's just the specific nature of some of the interactions that really require you to have either the 6-star version or have a breadth, long, stretching, widthy roster that definitely has some of the tag specific champions or the class specific options that you might require. So let's face it, in some of the Thronebreaker difficulty, you're going to have 7 stars as the champions you go up against. And kind of looking at 5 stars as potential options to take on the content, it's a bit weird because you kind of think like, hang on a minute, we don't take 4 stars to take on 6 stars, and there's a lot of chip damage that you would take when you're kind of like in the block. So we're just going to create a little example like here. So I'm going to stay blocked, or at least try to keep myself blocked. You can see already I'm down to 93% whilst in the block, the chip damage right there. And even taking hits like that is like stripped down a lot of my health quite considerably, quite quickly. You can see there, literally, like one mistake. If I make one mistake in this particular fight, I'm gone. By the way, this is not me showcasing how to play. This is just showcasing the damage you're taking and the chip damage whilst in that block particular status. Now, recently I had a little bit of fun in one of the difficulties. I think the footage on screen right now is from 2.2. This kind of shows like the crossfight build for the likes of Scarlet Witch. If you've got the champions, especially at 5-star, and you've got the crossfight, that tactical edge or whatever it is, then you're able to go fight by fight, kind of building up a nice amount of Fury passive damage. Then you're able to slap in a nice amount of, well, yeah, damage. You can see there, sadly, that 11k was kind of disappointing. And you have to go like, it is what it is when it comes to that, because Scarlet Witch, the OG one, you take the rough with the smooth when it comes to getting the crits. So it was a nice 10k there. But look, this is a 5-star version versus a 7-star version. It's very different to how back in the day, like 4 stars versus 6 stars are kind of treated. Nice 70k right there. And especially when we go fight by fight, we'll see differences of damage and how much more kind of like, you know, fun it is. But you're not going to see just Scarlet Witch footage. I'm going to also do like Hulkbuster footage. We're going to be having Black Widow Deadly Origin, and also against the boss, Diablo boss, there will be footage of Nick Fury, but we're going to get to that in a moment. Again, we're talking about like chip damage. When you've got a champion like Scarlet Witch, you know, this is the great thing about the champions. Like, you can get yourself like regeneration. If you get regen, like, you literally top back up, and it's a very different ball game when it comes to this champion. But the specific nature of stuff is, we saw, you get chip damage, you make a mistake, it's quite costly. Same thing when it comes to like 6 stars, but I think it's more so when it's 5 stars. And nowadays, again, like Thronebreaker wise, if you're very new to Thronebreaker and you're trying to do this particular difficulty and you do not have a wide breadth of 5 stars available to you, and even 6 stars, then the mode can seem a bit frustrating. That's something I think the people that go, oh, Thronebreaker is absolutely difficulty is fine as it is. It might be, but under different players, different perspectives based on where their roster is. I've definitely seen a good cause for this particular difficulty to be changed, slightly nerfed in some ways, but that's something that we're still waiting for Kabam to, you know, come up with a kind of answer to that particular query. And look, there may be people going like, look, here's the thing, right? It's pretty doable, you know. I did it with 5 stars, great, you know, that's fantastic. That thumbs up. That's not the kind of the point to make here. Yes, I mean, I even did it with 5 stars, but this is a case of like looking at this particular situation from both angles. And I actually had a really good time using 5 stars exclusively. No 6 stars were used in my my 2.1 grind. I've done like different types of difficulties in Thronebreaker, but I wanted to showcase, like, for the difficulty of doing 2.1, how a 5-star roster can be used. Well, 3 champions, well, 4 champions technically, because Nick Fury, Scarlet Witch, Black Widow Deadly Origin, and Hulkbuster. And how I had a bit of fun, but also you do take the rough and the smooth. If you make a mistake and you allow too much chip damage, it will cost you a champion, which isn't great, because you would like to get through it as kind of smoothly as possible. That's where those tactical boosts of Fury passives help out a lot. So on screen right now is that particular run. I've kind of sandwiched, I've cut this up into like little segments, and we're going to go over all of the little fights. So first of all, Black Widow Deadly Origin. Now, I do get very unlucky with evade. Yes, the evade that Mr. Fantastic has wasn't so fantastic, but you can definitely see as we're building up those cross-fight tactical kind of Fury passives. Oh, I have to be very careful about that. Got to be so careful about that evade. I do get stung once, but that's the thing. And this is the thing to point out with this. It's great when you see this. Look at that, lovely damage, lovely kind of shocks. But you get hit once, and I had to be so careful with that evade. Like, yes, it's kind of like good to kind of poke at the enemy, poke at Mr. Fantastic, but there you go. As soon as you get evade, you get clapped, right? That could be game over for me, and that's a lost champion. So you do take the risk with the champion in that that's taken over 50% of my health on it. So that's a bit disappointing there when it comes to that. And that's the thing, as we know at the moment, 5 stars and 6 stars are the most kind of like what kind of trendy champions to use. But as well, like, you're not going to take your 4 stars in it. You can't take it. It's impossible. But moving on, Scarlet Witch, OG. Such a lot of fun. By the way, I'm not saying that these particular champions used are saying they're the best ones. It's just a case of, like, I decided to create a team like this and kind of go at it. 49k right there from a 5-star, which was really nice. But, you know, that's just the thing about it. And if you are a Thronebreaker player now accessing this particular difficulty, or anybody accessing this particular difficulty with a roster that's not kind of like spread widthwise, you can see some like differences in how, say, me as a Paragon player, that was 100k by the way, would have a difference in the kind of like feel of it. You look at this Darkhawk fight, it's really strong aggression. So I'm being incredibly aggressive right here. You see, like, I'm just kind of poking a little bit, getting lucky with a power burn or power drain, sorry, that you get from the node interaction. But you're going to see in a second, as soon as I kind of ramp up to my SP2, it's just a case of like it's game over. I'm staying in my block, so I don't want the Darkhawk to do his special 1 or special 2. So I'm playing a bit kind of like that. But look at that. That's just nutty. That's nutty damage right there. Same thing with this, like Hulkbuster. Now, I do make a mistake with Hulkbuster. Because the champion seemed to be immune to the shock, I decided to change my rotation. I should have instead gone rotate around SP2. This is why we're kind of further into this fight. I should have been rotating around SP2s. Obviously, yes, there's a power sting right there that I kind of wasn't playing around with. But I was like, looking, going like, what's happening here? Why am I not getting any kind of like Fury crossfight Furies kind of like built? So that red kind of Fury there. And the answer is, it's just a case I wasn't rotating correctly. So I needed to kind of make sure that when I throw my special attacks, I'll be throwing an SP2 as much as possible, because that's what I was meant to be doing. And you're going to see in a minute, I'm going to have to make this sound effect of blah, 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 blah. Wait for it. Wait for the block. There's a block in, and blah, 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 blah. You can see all those crossfight Furies just built up just quite quickly. So then I was like, right, okay, you silly boy, it's time to rotate around the SP2 in order to kind of get those Fury passives up as much as possible. So yeah, you kind of like, you do find these things out, but as I said, like, you got to really be worried about the chip damage. And yes, I could. The thing is, it's going to be like, well, why don't you intercept all the time, Rich? Well, that's all right for some, but after a while, I just get bored of it because it's just too sweaty to play that kind of way. Yeah, okay, it is the quintessential way to be that pro player within Marvel Contest. But at the same time, you know, and I'll do it from some, like, couple of fights throughout the interaction of the path, and I'm like, well, I don't want to do it all the time, because I just want to, like, you know, chill and enjoy the game like it's a pastime. In any case, right, we're on to the Scarlet Witch fight versus Karnak, right? This is annoying because I got a dropped input there, and that's the thing, that's the other thing. If you get dropped inputs in this game, which, you know, Kabam are very kind of coy in saying, like, no, there's no dropped inputs in Marvel Contest. There is. There still is. And it's still something that Kabam, you know, don't do well to optimize their game. But look, thankfully, for a champion like Scarlet Witch Classic, that regeneration right there literally tops me back up again. So there's some good things with these 5 stars. If you've got certain champions that are 5-star that build back up their health points, and I'm playing a bit kind of like coy there with that because I'm like, well, I want to be a bit, you know, make sure I kind of keep the champion alive. By the way, this is stupid. I decided to throw this in because I thought, well, I've got those Fury passives, I might as well use them. So if you've got crossfights and 5 stars that have got lots of health points to burn, why wouldn't you just throw them in just to kind of like take down the health of the enemy? Yeah, I'm going to get like poisoned there, but it's like, is what it is. Okay, Fury and Nick Fury fight now, and I decided to, with this one, just, you know, just throw in the champion and just kind of try to make sure that I'm purifying the debuff effect. Any skill champion can work with this, but Nick Fury is just great. Now, I really kind of like, I didn't want to throw myself into my phase 2 just yet because I thought, well, anything can happen. What if I get hit and I lose all my health points? Then I need that phase 2 to just keep myself back in the fight. So again, playing this kind of like, not defensive, not the way that AI plays defensive, but this kind of like, it's like a get out of jail free card in Monopoly, if you get the reference. So that's what I was trying to do, just kind of like do that. Yes, I could have played a bit more aggressively to get my deep wounds, but at the same time, I don't need to. I really don't need to. The enemy champion's like literally like ticking like 8k a time, and it's done. Job's done. Just as simple as that. So yeah, using 5 stars still works. Those cross fights are brilliant. Even if you don't have any cross fights, you know, Nick Fury at the end of it still work to treat. So look, it is what it is with these champions, and the chip damage is annoying. 5 stars for me don't feel like 4 stars versus 6 stars, which 4 stars just feel like they're utterly irrelevant in doing any kind of damage. They can still do damage as 5 stars. So I just thought it was interesting just kind of present this. 5 stars are still very much viable in this particular interaction. I think the biggest thing for those that are doing Thronebreaker for the first time that may be struggling with this is roster availability and width, because that's the biggest thing as well, width of roster. And for me, it's fine, but I've been playing for a lot longer, so therefore I've acquired more 5 stars to then bring up and kind of like cover a broad spectrum of issues, needs, interactions when it comes to things like Thronebreaker Difficulty, so I have an option for stuff. However, though, tagging champions does limit the crossfight, but does it limit on the class specific? I don't know, thoughts in the comment section. Do you think the 5 stars are still viable against this content? I think a lot of people will say yes, they are. But yeah, a lot of fun with using 5 stars. Still kind of getting there, and I am having fun with Thronebreaker Difficulty. Anyway, thanks for watching. Check out some other content located on screen right now, and I'll see you all soon. Much love and goodbye.